Hey everybody, this is Jay the Nerd here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below to get all the nerdy content you'll ever need every Wednesday and Saturday. Speaking of Wednesdays, lately I've been doing episode by episode reviews of ReZero Season 2, but now that that is on hiatus, I'm going to be doing episode by episode reviews of the final 7 episodes of Supernatural, which, if you didn't know, it's my favorite show ever, and I freaking love it to death. I'm wearing my Crowley shirt because Crowley is my favorite. Rest in peace. Anyways, today I'm going to be talking about how I want Supernatural to end, what my dream ending is, maybe some theories about how I think it probably will end, maybe going against what I actually want, but who knows. Next week is when I'm going to start the weekly reviews, because the new episode doesn't start airing until tomorrow on Thursday. But today I'm going to be talking about how I want Supernatural to end. Now, we left off, with the whole Sam and Dean need to kill God thing, or at least defeat him in some way. And I know, if you don't watch Supernatural, hearing that a show has a plot point where they need to get rid of God sounds really fucking weird. And it's really hard to explain if you haven't watched all 15 seasons. And basically in the show, God is not the best person. He basically does things for his own entertainment. He creates other worlds so that he can observe them for his own entertainment. He destroys worlds for his own entertainment. He basically considers Sam and Dean to be the main characters in his fun little story, and that he could have intervened and made things better, but he didn't because it was entertaining for him, and that he kind of let some horrible things happen simply for his own entertainment. And I feel like even if you're religious, I don't think that you should find it blasphemous or insulting, because one, it's fiction, and also the whole concept of God not intervening and then choosing to intervene for his own entertainment is really interesting. A concept of religion that I've never really seen before. Obviously there's always debates in religion about why doesn't God intervene and why does he let bad things happen to people, but this is taking that concept in a whole other way and being kind of well, eventually God is going to get bored and he's going to want a show to watch, as he calls it in the show. And what's funny about it is that God actually comes to Earth and acts like a person and becomes an author and writes books about Sam and Dean that he calls Supernatural, which is the whole meta thing with, the show being called Supernatural. But anyways, the point of this season is to defeat God, whether that means killing him, banishing him in some way. I think right now they think that their only option is to kill him. But again, they always talk about how in Supernatural there needs to be a balance between light and dark, and God is light and his sister Amara is the darkness, though really, is God really light in this show and scenario? I don't know. But basically they have to find a way to get rid of him because he's mad at Sam and Dean. He's getting bored and he just wants to destroy the world and start all over again because he's bored. And obviously Sam and Dean don't want that. They don't want to lose their world and their friends and their life and themselves. But anyways, what I hope the ending will be is what I'm going to talk about first, and then I'll talk about theories about how it probably will end. How I want it to end is that nobody dies except God, maybe, if they can find a way to still balance it. But nobody dies, which obviously if you watched the 15 seasons of Supernatural, you know how fucking unlikely that is, that no one will die. But how I want it to end is that both Sam and Dean are still alive. Cass gets to become human, because one of my favorite seasons in Supernatural is when Cass, who is my other favorite character besides Crowley, when Cass gets to go from being an angel to being human. Well, not gets to. It's a horrible circumstance that leads to that happening, but you can really tell in the show at certain points that he really enjoyed being human and getting to enjoy food and sex and just human interaction and having a job and all those things he seemed to really enjoy. And I honestly think what would make him happy is if he got to be human and he got to live out his life human with Sam and Dean, and he didn't have to watch them die because he lives forever. So I really kind of want him to end up getting to be human in the end. No matter how that ends up happening, I kind of hope that that happens, is kind of what I want to happen. Obviously, I want him to end up with Dean in a romantic relationship, because Destiel, one of my number one ships, right below Bakudeku. But even though it's very, very obvious to me in the show that Dean has bisexual tendencies, and then obviously Cass is an angel, so, you know, do whatever he wants, I kind of feel like the show is not going to go there, even though fans, I think, overall would be really happy if it did. I unfortunately don't think that they're going to go there, simply because some of the actors and things like that have never really understood why people ship them, because they're just good friends or whatever. I just don't think it's something that they're going to pull out of nowhere. Maybe if they had made it a gradual thing in the last couple of seasons, but they haven't really been leading that way in a lot of ways. I mean, obviously the ways that they react to each other and missing each other and when each other dies or whatever can hint at the strong emotional connection that they have with each other, even romantically. But the fact that they haven't really led there leads me to believe that that probably won't happen out of nowhere at the end as much as I want it to. And another thing that I want to happen is that they kill God and Jack gets to be the new God, because Jack would do a great job. We love precious little bean Jack. I love him so much, and that way he's still around and he can observe his friends. So I hope that all those things happen. I really wanted Crowley to be brought back for the final season, maybe in the final episode, but from what Mark Sheppard has said, I don't think that that was the case, which is a huge bummer, because they brought back literally every other fucking character in some way except for him. Anyways, now how I think it probably will end is that we've been hearing this whole show that there's this like prophecy that Dean will have to kill Sam at some point. And I know that that is what a lot of people have been thinking will happen, but I think that it'll go the opposite way, where Dean will die for Sam and it'll go the opposite way of the prophecy, because I feel like that prophecy, if you're going to have to kill your brother at some point, had more to do with the powers that Sam had from the Yellow-Eyed Demon, and maybe isn't even relevant anymore. And I'm hoping I'm thinking they're going to turn it on their head, and that Dean is going to die. And also the fact that it's been made very clear in the show that Sam can't lead a happy, normal life when Dean is around, because Dean loves to hunt demons and kind of drag Sam along. Not that Sam doesn't, sometimes enjoy working with his brother, but every time Dean isn't around, Sam gets to have a normal life when you know how much he enjoys it. So I think it'll probably, unfortunately, end with Dean dying and then Sam being able to have a normal life again, and maybe go to finish law school like he never got to do and all that. And then maybe I'm thinking that Dean will get to go to heaven, obviously, and Jack will be there, and maybe, because I unfortunately think that Cass is probably going to die, not just because Misha hasn't really talked about being there to film the last few episodes, but I just get this vibe that it's something that they would do, mostly based on the whole Misha not talking about being there thing, but just also we learned about a long time ago about how his deal is that once he was happy again, he would be taken to the empty. So I think what might happen is that he goes to the empty, Jack becomes a new god, Jack pulls him out of the empty, and then Cass is an angel in heaven again. So that is a way that Cass, Dean, and Jack can all still see each other, as if Jack is God, Dean died and is in heaven, and Cass was taken out of the empty and put in heaven. I think that's a possibility it'll end that way. And then maybe Sam will die of old age. They'll see each other in heaven again together in their own little heaven with the Impala and eating and drinking together again. So I think that's probably how it will end. I don't obviously know all the intricacies of what will happen, like how they'll defeat God, if they'll actually kill him or just banish him or something. But I have a feeling there will be some deaths involved because it's Supernatural and everybody freaking dies on Supernatural. And because it's the end, you can't exactly see people be brought back. And I will say indefinitely that I will always be upset that they never brought Crowley back because he was my boy. But you know what? We got 8 good seasons out of Crowley. I will always treasure those. But anyways, I will see you this Saturday with a review of the Netflix show Emily in Paris, and then next Wednesday I will be here to review the newest episode of Supernatural that is airing tomorrow. Okay, that's it. Bye!